Hello YouTube, my name is Fag. Welcome to my channel. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And here we go. Rev. And he's gonna be going over Industry Shield Blades Add the Gold for Anti-Woke Backlash of RE9 Protagonist instantly finds out. So I imagine Add the Gold cracked back pretty good. So I would say Add have been based. But check this out. Apparently, Resident Evil 9 is going to be an open world MMO. Isn't that pretty cool? Yeah, first time for a Resident Evil game. Kind of excited about that. Well, let's get started, shall we?
So today we have some very interesting gaming related drama to cover. So in case you missed it, at Summer Game Fest, there was an announcement for Resident Evil 9. And in that announcement, we saw some previews of what this game is going to be about. You can see some of the things listed here, but the main thing we're going to talk about for this video is Grace Ashcroft taking on a protagonist role. Now this leads
I want to read those bullet points real quick, if you don't mind, guys. Okay, details of Resident Evil 9 Requiem. I have a hard time with that word. Requiem. It takes place in the year 2026. So probably about time to count it out in the timeline is going to be in. It's got Leon Kennedy, with the main protagonist. I guess this one here is the one that they're having issues with. But Grace Ashcroft, Alicia's Outbreak, and Resident Evil 7 in a press report. Daughter. Okay. So this person is a news person's daughter from Resident Evil 7. Got it? Takes on a very important role. Lisa Ashcroft was murdered in 2018 during a hotel investigation. Oh, that's sad. That's sad. Oh, let's continue.
role. Now, this leads us to Reforge Gaming. I don't know if you guys know who this is, but from my
Nope.
observations, he's somewhat of a lol cow in the gaming scene among content creators at this point. And it kind of is confirmed because every time I see this guy, it's a clip of him and it's some out of pocket stuff where he's being made fun of. And today is no exception. So he had this to say about the design of Ashcroft, saying, dudes are already calling the Resident Evil 9 lead protagonist ugly. An epidemic of loneliness and misery is truly making some of you insane. First of
All right. So they're calling this lady ugly. I mean, it kind of looks like she has a mustache on one part of her lip. That's probably the shadowing. Mm. I just felt they could have done better with the texturing, but I wouldn't exactly call her ugly.
all, projection with this part right here. But also they're making the claim that people are calling this character ugly and woke and all these things. They'll add more onto this in their streams and stuff when they clarify these points they're trying to make. But yeah, there's a couple things to establish here, right? There would be a note.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, Silver. She doesn't look that bad. They could have done better with the texturing. But it's not bad. I wouldn't call her ugly.
Added to this, saying without a single evidence of the claim, this account is just trying to rage bait for engagement, which is against the TOS. Yeah, because there's really nothing to find here, right? They said this with almost no evidence to back it up, and then they scrambled to try to find little breadcrumbs of people complaining about this character's design, including people from Asmongold's stream, which we'll get into in just a second. But next I want to say, looking at this character design, I think it's good. Like, I don't know, you can feel free to disagree in the comment section. At the very least, I think it's fine. You know, the only...
Yeah, me and Red's on the same page here. I don't see a problem with that character, really. I don't know what they're going on about. Just find something to nitpick, I guess.
comments I could find searching around was some people saying it's a bit stale. And that's about as far as I could find in terms of negative comments But in the reply section, some people were really gassed up by what was going on. They believed this narrative being spread here. You can see D-Batch here replying with this absolute alpha male comment right here. These guys are effing losers. Virgins that J off to the hub. So much so, they think all lead females need to have that star look. Effing dorks, we gave you effers wedges in school. Think this is their get back. LOL, effing losers. LOL.
Now, I want to say something about this, okay? You gotta remember, Resident Evil takes place in a post-apocalyptic society, right? So the actors, or the portrayal of the actors, right, or the characters, all gonna be not gonna be clean, right? They're all gonna be some kind of dirty or somewhat because they're fighting to survive. They typically don't have running water or stuff like that to clean up with. So yeah, they're gonna look a little grungy. That's just the way post-apocalypse works.
Did you guys just feel a wave of testosterone and alpha male energy coming from this post? Absolutely unbelievable. What a Chad this guy is. First of all, he said wedges here. Like, I don't know, you're going to give those
wedgies.
people wedges of cheese, potato wedges perhaps? Of course, he was trying to say wedgies, which is kind of funny. I get why he probably misspelled this. He was probably crying so hard while typing this out. The tears falling from his face probably messed with his keyboard. But anyways, look at this projection. This guy's talking hard, saying everyone's a loser and a virgin. If they have any sort of criticism for this character, which it's hard to find any, but that's besides the point. But then he's talking about how he bullied people in school like this. Oh yeah, how tough. I mean, this is projection. You know this guy. This guy wasn't just getting wedgies, he was getting swirlies. Like, that head was getting dunked in toilets, and now he's coming back, and he's trying to pretend like he was always the tough guy. And also, he's got this, like, revenge of the nerds narrative down here. This whole post is just screaming insecurity. And to really cap this off, the worst result here is that it's projection, and this guy was bullied in school or something. The best result, I guess, is that he's telling the truth, which would just mean he's bragging about bullying kids in school. Like, yeah, sick, dude. That's real cool. That's a really normal response to discussions about a character's appearance in a video game. But this was one of the very few people believing this post. In fact, you look at their responses and the number of likes, especially the ones coming from various content creators. Hypnotic saying, it kind of sucks knowing this is going to go viral, and you simply made this stuff up as bait and it worked. Good job. Smash JT says, literally no one is saying this. And Demion says, she looks fine. Savvy says, show who said it. And you got Jay Viper saying, there is no note. Why is it still up? Are you openly grifting? Now, this was true for a couple of days. I've been hanging on to this video and the related topic for a couple of days now. And at one point, as pointed out here, for the last like 3 or 4 days, the note was removed temporarily. And I'll explain why that happened a little bit later in this video. But for a while, couple days, the note was removed, and he had this to say about the possibility of the note being removed.
People called it a rage bait. I was like, okay, I'll make you a deal. If the community note comes off of that tweet, so then it actually makes me money, I will delete the tweets to prove to you I don't give a frick about this stupid social point rat race that you guys play. People called it a rage bait.
Social point rat race. Very high IQ assessment there. But, of course, the note would be reapplied, but all of this doesn't really matter. They're acting like getting, you know, some level of engagement, a few thousand likes and a couple, or 1,700 replies is some gold mine of ad revenue. This is Twitter. Like, this whole tweet probably made 20 cents. Like, unironically. So the fact that they're like, I'll take it down to end the grifts, it doesn't really mean much. But anyways, going back to the replies, more people saying, stop making up stuff that no one is saying, bro. I have not seen a singular person say that she was ugly. Yeah, no one's saying that. But here is a reply, since you obviously need the engagement, money, you dip. Okay. Well, let's move forward a little bit here. We have a comment from Grums. Now, like the guy or not, agree with his takes or not, the amount of people who are seething about this guy's existence is fascinating to observe from the outside. He says, with 3,200 likes, if that were true, I would have said it. But I don't think she's ugly, and you got it all wrong. This is just you baiting. And oddly enough, at the same time, someone else left a reply saying, that's Grum's brain rot for you. Amazing. He had a response. It's the exact opposite of what this person's saying. Then you look at their account. The first thing they want you to know about them, the first thing is Grum's tards equals instant block. Imagine dedicating your entire...
So that person's just a hater of Grum's. That's all that is. That's messed up, ain't it? Your whole account is about hating somebody. How sad is your life to be like that? I mean, seriously. Dude, he's touching grass.
Your online presence to some random person that you could easily just mute or block and then ignore forever. But, of course, after a couple of days, Reforge Gaming would come back with the receipts, the damning receipts, as you'll see. Here's everything. This is what the entire narrative that he's trying to propose is based on, that claims the protagonist was woke and ugly according to some users. Here's the first one from a single account on Twitter. Protag looks woke. This greatly diminishes my interest in this game. Left-wing cowards are triggered by this. I prefer my women in video games, not ugly. And here is the final example. More evidence that a lot of dudes were instantly running with DEI and other anti-woke dog whistles the minute this trailer hit.
You know what it is, don't you? They're mad because you don't have super huge tatas. That's all it is. They want their, people like this, they want their main protagonist women to have super huge tatas and a plump butt. That's all it is. If they don't get it, all of a sudden it's woke and DEI. Well, I don't think she looks bad. I don't. I think she looks decent.
Hold on a second. Anti-woke dog whistles. That is the most terminally online thing I have ever heard in my life. And believe me, I've heard a lot of things, okay? But this is the proof. This is from Asmongold's stream reacting to all this. And this is the proof. Two people in the chat, or a couple people in the chat saying DEI game, or DEI. And two down here saying DEI. Understand Asmongold's chat typically has 50,000+ people in it. So you're never going to control everyone. So out of all of those people, you have a couple circled examples here of random users saying DEI. Now, if you actually...
Hey, yeah, point there, Halaha. Her hair does look a little ratty, right? And it could be a resolution thing. But you also gotta remember, too, it's post-apocalyptic, right? Most places won't have running water or self-care products to be able to do something about that. You just gotta remember to set in the game, too.
Attend Asmongold's streams. I think it's very clear a lot of people like to troll him, right? They say stuff like this to try to get him to react to them. And in this case, I guarantee, knowing a little bit about Asmongold's content, he would say this game is not DEI. It's not woke. In fact, the only thing we see here is just people saying DEI over and over.
Well, it could also be, too, that was just like a early game tease trailer. So it could be that the rendering is not all finished yet and stuff. Once it hits production, they might come out a lot better, too.
And over again. Now, there's another element to this that is very funny. The YouTuber Vera Dark would make a video talking about this same subject, the same tweet from Reforge Gaming, titled "Woke Loser Gets Wrecked for Claiming Gamers Think Resident Evil 9's Lead is Ugly," which is a lie. And she would obviously criticize his post and say, you didn't prove anything, you took a couple random posts across the internet and tried to give this narrative that that's what everyone's talking about when that was obviously not the case. And he is absolutely fuming about her video. And this is a clip.
Well, if he didn't want to get mad, he shouldn't have made that to begin with. You know what I mean? He put that out there for people to criticize. Now he wants to get mad about it. Maybe you should have taken it down like you said it was going to. Obviously, it's still up. Otherwise, they would be making videos about it.
From one of his recent streams where he's crashing out over Vera Dark's video. Brace yourselves. This is peak cringe.
So Vera Dark put up a video on you. It was a laugh. Oh, because of my tweet about the Resident Evil thing, and they're all in denial. They can put me in their content all they want. I don't care. I will never appeal to their audience because I don't deal in grift and half-truths. Listen to me. What I said got attention because a hit dog barks. And they've created and fostered a monster, and they don't want to admit it. They don't want to admit the fact that now every single time a minority or a woman is on screen, that's the conversation that starts immediately. A millisecond later.
Now, the other one that said it was him, right? Now he's crashing out trying to justify why he did it. And he's just responding to one person that, from what I've seen, said that she was ugly, woke, and DEI. But maybe there's more to it we're not seeing. But from what I've seen, there's only one person that said that, and he based his whole thing off of it.
There are people typing DEI, woke, and ugly in the chat. And it happened with Resident Evil 9, and they're all in denial. They can all say nobody's saying this, which is absolutely idiotic to claim. Plenty of people were saying it. We had screenshots from Asmongold's chat. People were immediately saying DEI and woke. We had people in our chat saying it. We had a tweet. We had multiple tweets in response to my tweet saying that the woman was ugly. That is now a conversation piece for every frickin' game. And it came from the grifting anti-woke ilk of the internet. And that's why they got angry. Because when I said this is absolutely stemming from misery and loneliness, a hit dog barks. And that's what they make money off of. They make content for miserable and lonely men who are upset and angry, and they need something to hurl that emotion at. Those people make money off of the emotional manipulation of disenfranchised men, and it's gross. And I threw a rock in the dark, and I hit a dog, and it barked. Because they were all like, oh my God.
No, instead of rocking a dog and his own echo chamber is what happened. And people are just copying what you're saying now, and it's just going everywhere. Yeah, he is the only one angry. You're right, pal. Yep.
Gosh, that's literally what this content thrives on, so we've got to attack this. Yeah, well, you'll learn very quickly attacking me is a bad idea. It doesn't work.
Yeah, once again, there he goes with the,
Yeah, no, right. Leave the poor dog alone.
hit a dog and see who barks or whatever weird phrase he used. He really likes those. It's kind of funny. It's like, yeah, when you attack people and try to spread false narratives, some people are going to fight back. They're going to bark back, right? It's such a weird excuse, but this whole thing is just riddled with projection. Again, going off about these people being losers who do this stuff, and that Vera Dark is a grifter and people like her are grifters, and they're exploiting lonely men because why? Because they criticize wokeness in video games. That's like some sort of exploitation of lonely men. Yeah, I don't think you're going to convince a lot of people that's like the narrative here, or something that's based in reality whatsoever. In fact, I'd say that's about as believable as his tweet claiming that everyone's calling this character ugly and woke. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so weird to always hear people project about everyone being a lonely loser and yada, yada, yada. It's like they have nothing real to say. They have no real counter. They're just insecure about getting criticized for this. They're probably insecure about a lot of other.
That's a good point, Silver. He just yelling at the wind, just coming back at him volumes. or probably better at now to be spitting in the wind, but nobody likes spit.
Other things that they're saying stuff like this to random people on the internet, but that's just the narrative, and that's just what's going on here, and that's the response to people like Reforge Gaming trying to, well, create narratives and push agendas, to own the chuds, and to squash out those alt-right dog whistles. They've actually made a new one, the anti-woke dog whistle. I'm sorry, my apologies on that one. But yeah, for now, that's going to do
It's alright, real. We all make mistakes. Nobody's holding against you. It happens.
it for this video and this amazing tweets. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.